You are a creature of the night, not by choice, but by profession. Your world is a small dome. It sits high in the Atacama Desert. The air here is thin and clear. The sky is a carpet of endless diamonds. You are a radio astronomer, a lonely sentinel listening to the whispers of the universe. For years you have listened to the same old song, the hiss of pulsars, the faint hum of the cosmic microwave background. It is the static of creation itself, a constant, unchanging presence. You know its rhythms by heart. You can trace its patterns in your sleep. It is the soundtrack to your quiet life. Tonight, however, something is wrong. You lean back in your worn chair. The screen shows a familiar cascade of noise, but deep within the data, a ghost. It is a signal, faint, structured, and impossibly old. Your heart begins to beat faster. This should not be here. It breaks all the rules of star science. You isolate the frequency. The signal is weak. It is buried under billions of years of cosmic dust. It is like finding a single, scribbled note inside a mountain. You run diagnostics, again and again. The equipment is fine. The readings are stable. The signal is real. It repeats on a perfect mathematical cycle. It is not a natural phenomenon. It has intelligence woven into its very fabric. The structure is complex, a tapestry of prime numbers and quantum states. It speaks the universal language of physics. You have spent your life hoping for this moment, the first undeniable proof of another intelligence, contact. But as you begin to map its layers, a feeling washes over you. It is not excitement. It is not joy. It is a profound and ancient sorrow. The signal feels heavy. It feels like a final breath. You work for 3 days without sleep. The observatory's coffee machine deserved a war crimes trial. But you barely notice. The data streams into your servers. You are a digital archaeologist. You are unearthing a city buried in time. The signal is a Rosetta Stone from a lost civilization. You feel a strange connection to them, the brilliant minds who sent this message across the void. You wonder what they were like, what they dreamed of. Finally, the core of the message begins to unlock. It is not a greeting. It is not a map to a utopian world. You stare at the translated data. Your blood runs cold. The sorrow you felt was not your imagination. It was an echo, a billion-year-old scream trapped in static. The message begins with beauty. It shows a vibrant civilization, a people called the Ethel. You see their worlds through their own data, shimmering cities under twin suns, great fleets of star-borne vessels. Art and music translated into pure mathematics. They were poets and engineers. They had mastered their solar system. They were reaching for the stars. Then the tone of the message shifts. The data becomes frantic, desperate. A star map appears on your screen. It shows their home territory. Then a shadow appears at the edge, a creeping void that expands slowly. Planets on the archive's map begin to go dark. One by one, the data streams that represented their populations vanished. The final data packet is small. It is clear. It is a warning. It reads like a tombstone. We are the Ethel. We lived. We built. We dreamed. We looked to the stars and saw only wonder. The text pauses. We were wrong. Something is in the dark. It does not speak. It does not negotiate. It consumes the light. Your breath catches in your throat. We sent this message as our final act, a record of our existence. We are a billion souls. Now we are silent. Flee the darkness. Do not let our fate become yours. The silence is coming for you too. A billion souls. The words echo in the small, quiet room. a civilization extinguished. And their final act was to carve an epitaph into the fabric of space itself. You have stumbled upon a galactic graveyard, and the groundskeeper is still out there. This message was not a discovery. It was a delivery, a warning that had traveled for eons. It had finally reached a world that was alive. Your world. You feel an immense weight settle upon you, the weight of 1 billion ghosts. You spend the next week immersed in the Ethel archive. It is more than a warning. It is a library of their demise. You learn about the enemy they faced. They never saw it clearly. They only saw its effects. They called it the Silence. The name was born of terror. It was the only thing they ever received from it. The Silence did not declare war. It did not send armies. It arrived without a sound. A ship, or a fleet of ships, would appear at the edge of a system. They were immense. They were utterly black. They reflected no light and sent no signals. They were holes in the fabric of space, perfect geometric voids. Then, the plague of quiet would begin. One by one, the Ethel colonies would go dark. Their communications would cease. Their energy signatures would flatline. No explosions, no distress calls. Just a sudden, total, and irreversible silence. The Ethel sent probes. Brave pilots flew reconnaissance missions. None ever returned. The archive contained their final, desperate theories. The Silence did not destroy worlds with bombs. It seemed to erase them. It was a predator that hunted not just life, but information. It consumed sound, light, and energy. It left nothing behind but cold, sterile rock, and the quiet. Always. The unending quiet. You find records of other civilizations, fragments of data the Ethel had collected. They were not the first. The Silence had been moving through the galaxy for an unknown time. A slow, methodical plague, erasing species after species, leaving behind a trail of silent worlds, each one a monument to its passing. The Ethel were simply the latest victims. Their final act of defiance was this archive, this time capsule of terror. They had encoded everything they knew. Star charts marking the Silence's path, physics data on its impossible ships, theoretical defenses they never had time to build. It was a survival kit for the next species in line. Humanity. You feel a new kind of fear. This is not some distant, abstract threat. The Ethel archive includes a timeline, a projection based on the Silence's steady advance. You run the numbers. You check them 3 times. The projected path of the Silence. It points directly toward your corner of the galaxy, toward a small, blue planet. According to the Ethel's grim calculations, it would arrive in your lifetime. You are no longer just an astronomer. You are a watchman. You are the sole recipient of the most important message in human history. The knowledge is a fire in your mind. You have to warn them. You have to make them listen. You know you cannot sit on this. The fate of your species rests on your shoulders. You compile the most critical data, the Ethel's warning, the star charts, the analysis of the Silence. You strip out the more complex star science. You make it simple, director, undeniable. You request an emergency audience with the Global Defense Council. To your surprise, they grant it. You find yourself on a secure video link. Your dusty observatory office is patched through to a gleaming conference room. 12 faces stare back at you. They are the most powerful people on the planet. Generals with stern faces, politicians with practiced smiles. Their titles are long, their patience is short. You begin to speak. Your voice is steady at first. You lay out the discovery, the ancient signal, the structured, intelligent message. You see a flicker of interest in their eyes. They lean forward. This is a story they can understand. First contact. A moment for the history books. They are already thinking of their legacy. Then, you deliver the truth. You tell them the signal is a warning, a tombstone. You describe the ethel, the billion souls, the total extinction. You explain the threat, the entity known as the Silence, the predator that hunts civilizations. You watch their faces change. The interest cools. It is replaced by skepticism, then by annoyance. An old general with a chest full of medals speaks first. His voice is gravelly. Doctor, you are telling us an alien ghost story? One you found in some background static? He does not wait for an answer. We have real-world threats to manage, not science fiction fantasies. A politician in a sharp suit smiles condescendingly. Your data is fascinating, truly. But it is entirely uncorroborated. You are the only source. For all we know, this is a flaw in your equipment, or perhaps a flaw in your interpretation. She says the word "your" as if it is an accusation. You try to argue. You show them the math, the flawless physics in the ethel message. It is beyond anything humanity could fake. You show them the star charts, the predicted path of the Silence. It is heading for us, you plead. We have to prepare. We have to unify. Then one of them laughs. It is a short, sharp bark of a laugh. Another joins in. Soon the screen of powerful faces is looking at you with pity, with amusement. Doctor, the lead counselor says, his tone final. Thank you for your time. We have more pressing terrestrial concerns. We suggest you take some rest. The desert sun can be taxing. The connection cuts. You are left staring at your own reflection in the blank screen. They laughed. You brought them the sworn testimony of a dead civilization, proof of a galactic extinction event. And they laughed. They called you a fraud without using the word, a prophet without honor in your own world. You are alone with a terrible, world-ending secret. Weeks turn into months. The world moves on, blissfully unaware. You are a pariah in the scientific community. The transcript of your council meeting was leaked. You are ridiculed online. A crank, a fear-monger. Your funding is reviewed. Your access to the main array is restricted. They are trying to silence you, just like the enemy you warned them about. It was a funny kind of irony. The unfunny kind. You continue your work in secret. You use backup servers. You call in favors from the few colleagues who still believe you, or at least who believe in your right to check your data. You monitor the patch of sky where the ethel archive said the Silence would appear. You watch, and you wait. You feel like a man on a beach, watching the tide go out, knowing the tsunami is coming. Then, one Tuesday, it happens. You are brewing another cup of terrible coffee. A news alert flashes on a secondary monitor. It is a minor story, a footnote in the daily churn of chaos. Communications lost with Centauri colony. The headline is bland, unalarming. It's the outpost on Proxima Centauri b, humanity's first tentative step into another star system. The report is full of reassuring jargon. Atmospheric interference. Suspected solar flare activity. Awaiting standard diagnostic reboot. They say it could take days to re-establish contact. Nobody is worried. It has happened before. Space is a dangerous place. Equipment fails. It is all perfectly normal. But you feel a cold dread creep up your spine. You abandon your coffee. You rush to your main console. You pull up the ethel star charts, the ones the council laughed at. You overlay them with the current human star map. Your hands tremble as you align the grids. You find Proxima Centauri, and you see it. It sits directly on the red line, the line that marked the silence's inexorable advance. It is in the exact position the Ethel Archive predicted a C-class extinction event would occur. At this exact time, the loss of the colony is not an accident. It is not an equipment failure. It is a pattern. You are staring at the first data point, the first confirmation, the first proof that you were right. There is no joy in this moment, only a hollow, terrifying certainty. You feel a profound sense of loss for the colonists, the families, the pioneers. They were the first. They will not be the last. You work feverishly. You pull every scrap of public data from the Centauri system, the last known energy readings, the final garbled data streams. You compare it to the Ethel Archive. It is a perfect match. A sudden, complete cessation of all energy and communication. No explosion, no distress call, just silence. The world's leaders are lying, or they are fools. Perhaps both. They know this is not a solar flare. They just don't know what it is. And they are too arrogant to admit it. They laughed at your warning. Now, 200,000 human souls on a distant rock have paid the price for their pride. You stare at the screen, the grim, matching data sets, the silence from Proxima Centauri, the echo of the Ethel's billion-strong choir of the dead. They called you a fraud. They called you a dreamer. Now you are a prophet. And your prophecy is death. The clock is ticking, and you are the only one who can hear it.